Here's the stretch by Burris in the pitch. Swing a long drive. It could be. It is a home run. And the Phillies have taken a 4-6 lead. Jaworski gives off inside, running over, coming up the right side. Plus 30, 25, 40, 50, 10, touchdown! Over Montgomery!
Thank you, Mr. President. I tell you, we're thrilled here in Philadelphia. We waited an awful long time for this moment, and a lot of people said this baseball team couldn't do it, but I think we proved otherwise. I think we proved we're the best in 1980 in America.
To be able to call Sizemore a champion, to be able to call Bill Berge a champion,
all right,
to be able to call you guys a champion, it's the greatest thrill I've ever had in coaching. And thank you for what you've done for me.
The final pitch of the 1980 Phillies World Series was one of the greatest moments in Philadelphia sports history. You can relive the magic of Philadelphia sports with this video collection. A great gift idea. It's just $19.95 or $15.95 with a $25 purchase at your nearby MAB Paint Store, Rich Lux Home Center, or participating dealer.
So much quality you can see when it's MAB.
The Volkswagen Jettas landed here and never looked back. In 1986, Jettas became the #1 selling German nameplates in America. Jettas German engineering translates into a swift, sure ride that makes it a pure pleasure to drive. And now your participating Volkswagen dealer makes the Jetta lineup even easier to own with 3.9% APR financing on most Volkswagens, including Jettas, but only until May 31st. With an excellent selection of Volkswagens to choose from, there's never been a better time than now to drive home winning deals.
The deal ends May 31st at your Pennsylvania, Delaware VW dealers. Hurry in.
Now, during Spectrum Carpet's anniversary sale, you save 3 ways. At Spectrum, you get free installation on selected brand name carpets. At Spectrum, you get carpet, padding, measuring, and expert installation on a huge selection of special purchases from only $9.99 a square yard installed. At Spectrum, you get free padding with every cash and carry remnant. So hurry to Spectrum Carpets today and save during our biggest anniversary sale ever.
Hi, I'm the Ice Cream Angel. Wow! I'm going to show you something new. Heaven Sundays on a stick. Oh, meow. Made with rich, premium ice cream, swirls of creamy fudge covered with a dark, chocolatey coating and roasted peanuts.
Can I have another Heaven Sunday?
New Heaven Sundays. They taste so good, we just had to call them Heaven.
In a time of disposable culture, the Philadelphia Art Museum houses treasures that will last the ages. Everlasting also are the accomplishments of a select group of men and women who provide the greatest moments in Philadelphia sports history. Some are native Philadelphians, others we adopted as our own. All are hometown heroes, athletes who have woven a tapestry of spectacular success. across our sandlots, our stadiums, and our rivers.
It is the pulse of the city, the beat on the street. In Philadelphia, no sport has yielded as many heroes or magical moments than basketball. Our town has seen a dazzling array of stars, and we had figured we had seen them all until we saw the doctor.
When, you know, I feel as though I'm almost individually in control of my own destiny as a player and the team's destiny, and that's when you kind of take matters into your own hands. And I have experience feeling I'm going to go out and play the perfect game, that every shot's going to go in. I'm going to get every rebound that comes into my area. You know, I'll make great defensive plays. Or if it's a close game, you'll make the winning shot, take it without hesitation.
He always has this great drive, and all great players have this great drive, that they're never pleased with their performance. They're always striving to improve. I think that's what's given him that ability to just keep reaching and reaching.
For 6 years, his team was a band that could not keep time with its soloist. But in 1983, the 76ers got in step and produced an unforgettable moment.
Not have jealousy, not have dissension, everyone pulling for one another. Definitely a team on a mission, and definitely a team of destiny.
I think of the final game in the Los Angeles Lakers series when we won the World Championship. And it was almost like someone had written a script. There was so much talk about winning a championship for Julius. And here we were down to the last few minutes of the ball game, and Julius scores, I think it was 7 consecutive points to close it out and win the World Championship for the 76ers. I get goosebumps thinking about it right now. If he didn't rise to that occasion, who knows what would have happened, and we might not have won that World Championship.
If I covered anything about my basketball career, it's the fact that I have been looked upon to lead men, many times men who are older, more experienced than myself, and I look at that as the true blessing.
While hundreds of thousands cheered Julius Erving, Jack Kelly Jr. and his dad dominated a sport where hundreds sat on their hands. The father rode to a gold medal and the son to a bronze in the Olympic Games. While the Kellys were one of Philadelphia's first families, Matthew Saad Muhammad grew from a baby abandoned on a doorstep into a light heavyweight champion. Leroy Kelly started Simon Gratz High School, and in the pros, he became the Cleveland Browns' second all-time leading rusher. Herb Adderley went from all public at Northeast High School to the Hall of Fame with the Green Bay Packers. A sure bet for baseball's Hall of Fame is Cheltenham High's Reggie Jackson. Pete Rose's career-long quest for excellence moved one more step forward in Philadelphia.
Off for the Phils with what probably will be his last shot at that magic 3,631 tonight. Facing Mark Littell. Ground ball in the hole, base hit left field, there it is! Pete Rose has just picked up 3,631, the all-time...
Philadelphians adopted Rose, but the greatest hometown hero was a native son.
In the 50s, they knew of Wilt Chamberlain in China. That's how big an athlete he was and is. You're not talking about, you go and say Joe DiMaggio to somebody in China, they don't know who Joe DiMaggio is. And Joe DiMaggio is a great athlete. This man is world-renowned.
Admired by nations,
and revered in old neighborhoods. Wilton Norman Chamberlain reached a place above all men who ever played basketball, a sport he learned at a legendary high school.
It's hail to thee, Overbrook High. Upon the hilltop's graceful heights, aspires against the blue, there stands a school of legend bright and inspiration true.
Even in his teens, Wilt seemed taller than Billy Penn. He rose above teammates and dwarfed opponents. He was bigger than life, the Paul Bunyan of the playground.
You could take out the ball out the air when the offense was shooting. Right. You could take it out the air when the defense was shooting. Right. And get credit for all the points, right? All the points, right. When I called timeout at Haddington on the outside and said, don't ever touch my ball.
Wilt was an athlete first and a basketball player second. He had great agility, great leaper, great timing. He could run, he had stamina, and with that, he just built on that to make himself a dominant basketball player.
The Big Dipper made more than headlines. He made history. He rewrote the rule books and shattered the record books in high school, college, then the pros.
When I think of Wilt Chamberlain, I think of the only athlete in the history of team sport that was greater than the sport he participated in.
One year, Wilt averaged over 48 minutes a game because he played every minute of every ball game. He averaged over 50 points a game one year for the Philadelphia Warriors, and he couldn't shoot foul shots, which is really frightening.
55 rebounds in one ball game.
Yeah.
Comment.
Yeah, the thing I like about that, it was against the best team in basketball, the Boston Celtics, you understand? So no one could say that, you just had a lollipop day.
But of all the records, one was so astounding it became a great moment in sports history. In 1962, he scored 100 points against the New York Knicks.
When I made the 100 points, I was averaging over 50 a game, so it was like doubling your average, And I was not that impressed at the time, but as I look at it and remember how hard those guys tried to keep me from scoring all of those points, I kind of chuckle.
On a basketball court, the greatest hometown hero remains a flashlight burning in a dark room. He is all you see, forever, in the spotlight.
While Philadelphia's had its share of heroic individuals, it has also produced some great teams. The group of men that wrote the Constitution in this building behind me was certainly one. But in the world of sports, there have been many outstanding Philadelphia teams, and they have written their legacy across the record books and into the hearts of this city of brotherly love.
The Philadelphia Athletics of legendary Connie Mack won 9 American League pennants and 5 World Championships. Led by Hall of Fame slugger Jimmy Fox, the 1929 A's are one of baseball's all-time great teams. The same has been said of the 1967 Philadelphia 76ers, who were known simply as the 67 Sixers. Their accomplishments will always be the standard by which all NBA teams are measured.
We were 44-4. And we were upset about losing 4 games.
They only lost 13, and with Wilt Chamberlain controlling the boards, and fast-breaking Wally Jones, Chet Walker, Lucius Jackson, Al Greer, and Billy Cunningham, this team so convincingly won the NBA title that they were called the greatest basketball team of all time. However, not everyone agrees. Tiny Immaculata College staked its claim to Philly's best by dominating women's intercollegiate basketball during the early 1970s, winning 3 national championships. Philadelphia also boasts the nation's most successful high school wrestling program. Under the direction of Neil Buckley, Haverford School has posted more than 500 victories. In track and field, Villanova's Jumbo Jim Elliott left a lasting legacy in a sport that measures triumph in seconds and inches. Spanning 4 decades, Elliott produced 32 Olympians, and athletes like Don Bragg, Phil Rivas, Ron Delaney, Charlie Jenkins, Marty LaQuarrie, and Dave Patrick helped the Wildcats win 11 national championships. Philadelphia has been the home of many champions, but none of them possessed the mystique of the 1960 Eagles.
This 1960 team developed that intangible, whatever it is. Some people called it spirit, some people called it camaraderie. It was just a strange, unique group of guys that suddenly decided that the most important thing in the world to them was to win a championship.
Coached by Buck Shaw, the Eagles were led by quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, number 11. It was the Dutchman's imagination and kick-in-the-butt tirades that turned this group of losers into winners.
As cutting as he could be, he was a lot like all of our fathers probably should have been. Even some of the linemen that wanted to punch his lights out because of what he would say in the offensive huddle. By the end of the evening, after the game was over, they'd say, "Hey, Dutch, great job."
Van Brocklin's got it. Van Brocklin's going to throw. He throws into the corner. Oh, it's touchdown!
One time, they were going to send me out, and Dutch stepped back and said to Shaw, "Get him out of here." Well, my feelings were hurt at the time, but we did win the game.
There were 39 of us, and we really had no what you'd call really a big star except Norm Van Brocklin. Without old number 11, I don't know what Tommy McDonald could have ever have been.
With Van Brocklin, the Eagles won 10 games and lost only 2. Victory never came easily. And it was even harder to win respect.
Each day when the game would be over, we'd meet the opponents in the middle of the field, and they'd say, "We wish the hell we could play you again." And we'd say, "Well, we'd like to, but we're too busy. We were on our way to the championship."
This trip produced many jarring collisions, but none matched the hit that 35-year-old Chuck Bednarik put on the Giants' Frank Gifford. The impact preserved an important victory and propelled the Eagles into the NFL championship.
What one game would stand out the 14 years that I played? I say December 26, 1960, the Green Bay Packer game. That one game of all the 280 games that I played will stick out in my mind forever.
Protecting a 17-13 lead, Chuck Bednarik's tackle on the game's final play became one of the greatest moments in the history of Philadelphia sports.
67,000 people standing. What an electrifying finish to a great season and a great game. Stars up over the ball. This will be it. Stars back to throw. He takes time. He throws over the middle. It's caught at the 15. Running hard to the 7-yard line and down on the 7.
I could see the clock going 11 and 10, and he's squirming and kind of, we're stalling for time. It was 2 and 1, and I looked down at him and told him, "You can get up now, you blankety blank. This game is over."
The game's over. The game's over. The Eagles are the champions of the world. Listen. The Parker needs one more. One more round.
The final pitch of the 1980 Phillies World Series was one of the greatest moments in Philadelphia sports history. You can relive the magic of Philadelphia sports with this video collection. A great gift idea. It's just $19.95 or $15.95 with a $25 purchase at your nearby MAV Paint Store, Rich Lux Home Center, or participating dealer.
For the quality you can see when it's MAV.
When it comes to boxing, Philadelphia is the heavyweight champion. Fighters worldwide come here to train, and many thrilling matches have taken place within the city limits. But of all the classic Philly punchers, none did this city more proud than adopted son Smokin' Joe Frazier.
By 1970, Frazier had become a heavyweight champion, achieving the title by always attacking, accepting savage blows to get inside, and overwhelm his opponent with relentless power. But many still felt Joe would not be the true champ until he defeated boxing legend Muhammad Ali.
He was a guy that shot off at the mouth all the time how great he was. He had the whole world thinking that he was like untouchable, that nobody could whip him. So therefore, by winning this fight. You know, my manager told me one thing. God bless him before he died. He said, Smoke, he said, if you beat this man, said, your way is paved in the world. And he ain't lying.
For the first time in history, two undefeated heavyweights met for the title. The charismatic Ali boasted the expansive talents of a boulevard, while Frazier worked a mean one-way street.
He told me in the fight that he was God. I said, God, you in the wrong place tonight.
For 15 grueling rounds, Frazier took Ali's mightiest blows, disdainful of the consequences. It still had enough left to land a brutal left hook that finally felled Ali, forcing him to make good on his pre-fight pledge to Smokin' Joe.
You know, I said, well, he promised me one thing, that Joe Frazier, if you with me, I will crawl across the ring and say you the greatest. I said, get down on your knees.
Joe Frazier won a championship with stamina and brute force, as did another group of Philadelphia athletes just 3 years later. They were hockey's bad boys, the Broad Street Bullies, the fighting Philadelphia Flyers.
I had a lot of teams that wouldn't fight, but we're so talented we didn't need to fight. But our team wasn't that talented. We had to play aggressively, and those that were aggressive, who were tough, they knew their role.
Shiro's theory was that give a player a simple job and keep him repeating it till he can do it without having to think what he's doing out there. Shiro's line, it was take the shortest route to the puck and arrive in ill humor.
Behind this mayhem was Fred Shiro's carefully designed system, held together by a French-Canadian goalie named Bernie Perron.
He was the only guy on the hockey club that we couldn't replace. We could not have won without Bernie. We could have replaced anybody else on the hockey club. And he knew how significant his role was on that hockey club, and he wouldn't let anybody down.
Bernie was possibly the best goalie that ever lived. And I said, Bernie, how do you know when you're ready? He says, Freddie, if you hear me hollering, shoot the puck, that means I'm ready. I want the puck. I know I can stop anything in the world. But if I say nothing, I'm frightened stiff.
The Flyers' courage came from a gutty diabetic named Bobby Clark, the youngest team captain in NHL history.
Schultz behind the net, centers, flat, finds to Clark, shot, oh, rebound,
The greatest captain that ever lived in any sport, and the most competitive athlete I've ever seen in any sport. He led us all the way, both on and off the ice. Yeah, I think he's the finest person I ever met in my life, believe me. He used to give me $1,000 worth of clothes every year. I said, why are you giving me these clothes? A certificate for $1,000 for clothes. He said, Freddie, you're the coach and you dress like a bum. And we don't like it. We want you to look nice.
The soaring sounds of Kate Smith's God Bless America became the good luck charm for a team that finally ended Philadelphia's long wait for a winner.
There is a charisma of some kind between the boys and myself. In other words, it sort of gets them up a little, a bit extra. Now, they're already up and they got their whole 17,009 back of them. But then I come in and I give them God Bless America right from my heart, the way I feel. And I'm hoping that this will just raise them up a little higher so that they'll get in there and just fight.
When Rick McLeish scored the winning goal in the 1974 Stanley Cup against Boston, the Flyers delivered as romantic a moment as the city had ever seen.
I remember the last game against the Bruins. I says, we will win together now. and we will walk together forever.
Philadelphia has hosted many great sporting events. In 1930, the only Grand Slam in golf history was completed right here on the 11th hole of the world-famous Merion Golf Club. Bobby Jones was the golfer, and that green down there was where it happened. One of many special moments that are part of Merion's magic.
Perhaps the most famous moment at Merion took place in 1971. The year Jack Nicklaus and Lee Trevino staged an 18-hole playoff to decide the U.S. Open Championship. The day and the match belonged to Super Mex, who attacked Merion's lightning-quick greens as if they were so much cut-pile carpeting. Franklin Field has hosted the world-famous Penn Relays every year since 1895. The U.S. Pro Indoor Tennis Championship attracts the world's best players each year to the Spectrum. And of course, what college football season would be complete without the Army-Navy game live from South Philly, the most historic of which took place in 1946. Army coach Red Blake brought the legendary Mr. Inside and Mr. Outside to town, and it took all their resilience to avoid what could have been the greatest upset in college football history.
We were on a win streak of about 30 games. We hadn't lost a game in 3 years. The game starts off, we go right down, score. Of course, we were going in at the halftime, figuring, well, should we make it 48-0 or 55-0, some big score? Well, to make a long story short, I think we kicked off to them the second half. They came down and scored. Then from there on, it was all their ball game. And when the gun blew, they were on our 4-yard line, and the score was 21-18. They had 4 downs to try to make it and didn't make it. So we came that close to getting beat, and if we'd have been beaten that day, well, everything we had accomplished for 3 years prior would have gone right down the tubes.
Some of the most sizzling moments in Philadelphia sports history have occurred outside the city.
Under 30 seconds left in the game. From here on in, Pizarchik can just fall on the football, and there is nothing the Eagles can do. And Pizarchik fumbles the football. It's picked up by Herman Edwards. 15, 10, 5, touchdown Eagles. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I do not believe what has occurred here, ladies and gentlemen. Talk about miracles, folks. I do not believe this one, but it has happened as the Eagles beat the Giants 19-17 before a shocked crowd at the Meadowlands.
The 1950 Philadelphia Phillies also had a flair for dramatic endings. The legendary Whiz Kids.
It surprises me as I look back that people remember that club so well. Because they didn't do that much.
In 1950, the Whiz Kids blew a 6-game lead, and by the season's final weekend, needed 1 win in a 3-game series at Ebbets Field to clinch the pennant. The Dodgers took the first 2.
Now, if we lose the last game of the season, which is a Sunday, we're tied, and we'd have had to go into a playoff. Dick Sisler hit the 3-run home run in the top of the 10th inning. We were tied 1-1, and that was it. I didn't personally realize what a great thing this was until we got back to Philadelphia. We took the train back, and there were, you know, just mobs of people, wall-to-wall people, thousands and thousands of people waiting for us. And that's, I think, when I realized, boy, what a great thing this was. And I think we all thought this would probably happen again a few times. It never did. I guess we should have enjoyed that first one a little more.
The first one is always the best, as the Villanova Wildcats will attest. The Cinderella Wildcats stole the show, the NCAA basketball advancing to the championship.
At that point, everything would have been happy. The student body would have been happy. I basically would have been happy. But, you know, we had never been there. And we worked very hard to get there. And once we got there, I think I'll never forget, we all got ourselves together and said, we might as well fool around and win this thing.
But first, they had to deal with the awesome specter of Georgetown center Patrick Ewing.
I don't think we were the best team in the tournament. But I also think that we had as good a character as any team in the tournament. And we have a family, and that's what it's all about. We kind of believed in ourselves. We took good shots. We didn't get impatient. We didn't get crazy. We just came down, we set up our offense, and no one took a bad shot. In fact, no one took a bad shot. And that's why the ball went in the basket so many times with such great consistency.
Having to help out inside. Jensen puts Villanova ahead at the 2:35 mark. Ice water in his veins. They gave him a shot. He took it. This would be one of the greatest upsets in the history of championship games of the NCAA tournament.
It's a moment that we probably will never, ever forget. And it was great for the people of Philadelphia, I think. I think it's just terrific. And I'm very, very excited at, you know, being a part of this great city and being a part of everything that took place. And hopefully maybe we'd have an opportunity to do it again.
June 21st, 1964, Father's Day, and the first day of summer. It was a perfect day at the beach, and a perfect day for Phillies pitcher Jim Bunning, who was working that afternoon at Shea Stadium in New York. If you were one of the lucky ones tuned to the game, you would have heard Jim Bunning make history.
The batter is Charlie Smith, and here we go.
That day was a very warm day, the kind I like. And when I walked out for the ninth inning, I told Trianis, I said, hey, Gus, 3 more and it's all over. Let's have some fun. Come on.
The Sunday father of 7 here on Father's Day. In 8 innings has retired 24 straight men.
And I knew that I had a perfect game going, and I knew that the conditions were pretty good for that kind of a game because we had just got blown away the day before by the Mets. That's the perfect time to pitch after all that elation. Now they go out and face reality.
The shortstop, Bobby Wine, is in foul ground. 1 out. Now George Altman is coming out. Real good left-hand hitter, and Bunning is really going to have to earn it.
The only way I had good success with Altman was to stay in on him. So the first 2 pitches were hard sliders right in on his fist.
High ball. It might go foul.
He fouled the ball off twice. And then we went away with a curveball, and, you know, it was all over. He couldn't stay back.
Jim Bunning is 1 out from a perfect ball game. The crowd is right on the edge of their seats. If he gets Johnny Stevenson, you'll hear the roar go up.
I anticipated him coming up because I wanted him to be the last hitter in the game. I knew I could get him out if I got past the first 2 hitters.
He's retired 26 in a row.
Manager Mock came out the first time I faced John Stevenson and said he can't spell curb. So that was an indication to me that If he was going to get a hit off me at any time, he was going to hit a curveball.
Strike two. Jim Bunning is now one strike from a perfect ball game.
The difference between a no-hitter and a perfect game is the fact that no one made an error. You didn't hit anyone, and you didn't walk anyone.
And how do you stay poised in a spot like this?
I had pitched better ball games before. It just happened that day that everything fell into place.
The crowd is standing.
It's just kind of a freak.
To a man, they're standing. Here's the pitch.
Not since 1880 had there been a perfect game pitched in the National League. 84 years. And not since 1960 had the Philadelphia Eagles played for an NFL championship. They won it that year by beating Vince Lombardi's Packers at Franklin Field. But the Eagles quickly fell from grace to suffer countless stormy seasons. After a decade and a half at the bottom of the heap, owner Leonard Tofts found the man who would turn the thin waters of pessimism into the wine of hope. That man was Dick Vermeil.
That's it, good.
A coach who demanded intelligence, guts, and hustle. The kind of football that turns players with modest talent into winners.
Some people starting to feel sorry for themselves a little bit out here. And I told you, no coaches are going to feel sorry for you. Get to them, Leroy. You're going to have to be quicker than that. That's not quick enough.
If you surround yourself with good people, chances are things are going to go your way more often than not. And fortunately, my good people are also good football players. I think a lot of people will be surprised to find out how well a guy can play if he has character and he's in the right atmosphere.
Vermeil built a team of overachievers. Foremost among them, an obscure sixth-round draft pick named Wilbert Montgomery.
We had a lot of reject players, a lot of free agents, and a lot of low-round draft picks. And we just pulled together as a family. And being around him, he worked us to death. He just worked us hard, and that hard work paid off. We griped about a lot of things, but yet we was willing to sacrifice because we believed in him.
The Eagles pushed themselves to incredible heights on desire more than talent. By 1980, they were division champions. But one team haunted them throughout the season, the Dallas Cowboys. And it was the Cowboys they faced for the conference championship.
Years back, when we were struggling to win 5 and 6 and 7 games, a lot of people used to take the Eagles for granted. We're here because we've earned the right to be here, and we've played well enough to be here. If the Dallas Cowboys are going to take us for granted, we'll whip their ass.
All right, slot split. I want 47 slant. Should be there, Dick. Should be there.
Second down and 10, the Cowboys with 6 defensive backs. Jaworski gives off inside, running with Montgomery up the right side. Look, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, touchdown!
Once I got through the hole, I just knew if I can just run up the seam between the hashes and the number, I think I can make the 42 yards into the end zone without being caught. And from there on, it's just like it was history right there.
Montgomery having his day of days.
Wilbert Montgomery's magnificent run was the greatest moment in the 20-7 win that sent the Eagles soaring to the Super Bowl.
I'll tell you where you're going. You're going to the Super Bowl. You know, he's going to the Super Bowl where he's going.
The Philadelphia Eagles are in the Super Bowl at long last.
1980 was a great year for the Phillies as well as the Eagles. They completely surprised the baseball world by winning the World Series for the first time in their 97-year history. Their moment of glory, however, was preceded by nearly a century of frustration and failure.
For the Phillies, the World Series had long been a mirage, shimmering just out of reach. 3 times in the 1970s, they had won division titles only to lose in the playoffs. Disappointment ran deep because expectations were so high.
Shoot! You guys shoot!
Although solidly built, the Phillies lacked a champion's heart. For years, the players had been treated with kid gloves, but new manager Dallas Green favored the iron fist approach.
We stunk up the joint, and we get our butts beat, and I told them, hey, you don't want to play this game of baseball the way we want to play it here in Philadelphia, then just take your uniform off, come on and see me, and adios, because I said, the Phillies are tired of you, I'm tired of you, I know the fans are tired of you, and you ought to be tired of yourself.
He let it be known that not only were we the most talented baseball team in Philadelphia history, we were probably one of the most talented teams in the history of baseball. And for us to be playing the way we were, and for us to be sitting around pitying ourselves, when in fact we were probably the luckiest guys in the world, there was just no excuse for it. And he went through just about every guy in the roster and had something to say about him.
I mean, Larry Bowa's banging me on his radio shows. I'm banging him back on my show. Lazinski's mad at me, calls me Hitler. I call him fat.
So he went through there ranting and raving and pointing fingers and going up and down personalities and abilities, and the guys understood beyond any shadow of a doubt exactly what he meant.
It comes right down to, hey, we got to hit. If we're as good as people say we are, and we deserve to be in the World Series, and we're the best team in baseball and all that business, we've got to prove it right out there with our bat.
The pitch to Schmidt. Long drive to left field. He buried it. He buried it. Way back. Out of here. Home run. Mike Schmidt puts the Phillies up 6-4.
As the second half of the 1980 season unfolded, every player responded to the demanding leadership of Dallas Green. A team that once played with a shrug of indifference now played with a snarl of defiance. In the playoffs, the Phillies conquered the Houston Astros, the odds, and their own image. They won 2 games out of 3 on Houston's home field, rallying from behind in the final game.
The 3-2 pitch. Here's a punch shot to center field. Maddox racing over. He catches the ball. Phillies win the pennant. The Phillies have won the pennant. The Phillies win the ball game 8-7. They go to the World Series for the first time in 30 years.
The coming together as a team was that playoff series against Houston. All the banging and screaming and yelling that we had done each other, it was gone. We recognized that we had grown up as a baseball team and that we were winners. So whatever was going to happen in the World Series, to me, was going to be a piece of cake.
The cake was baked perfectly by a group of men who had finally realized their potential as a team. And the sweet icing was supplied by tireless Tug McGraw, whose final pitch to Kansas City's Willie Wilson will be remembered forever as the greatest moment in Philadelphia sports history.
I remember going through the whole sequence of pitches with Willie Wilson, and then being distracted by the police, the horses and the dogs who were now surrounding the field. And the fans were going crazy, and Dallas is on the top step of the dugout. And I looked at one of the horses, and his tail went up, and you realize that the city did not send us stadium-trained horses. And so I thought, if I don't finish this game, and something bad happens, we end up losing, that's exactly what I'm going to be, is what that horse is getting rid of.
65,000 plus on their feet at Veterans Stadium. The Tucker needs one more. One more out. Willie Wilson standing in, bases loaded. 1-2 pitch.
Great moments have run like a golden thread through the fabric of Philadelphia sports. In the years to come, no doubt other and better athletes will come to the fore, as they always have in the past. They will have a difficult standard of excellence to match, an almost impossible one to better.